My name is Steve Doby. I'm with J.H. Batten, and this is a little different because, we're not worship tech guys. Now, we've both been worship pastors, and we both are ministry guys. I've been a senior pastor, been a worship pastor, student pastor, children's pastor, but my grandfather was a builder, and my dad was a pastor, so I'm this weird mix thing. I don't know what you want to call it, but so we bring experience. 80% of what we do is design and build churches and worship facilities. And I tell people from the proverbial sketch on the napkin all the way to handing you the keys. And so we integrate, we have meetings with the technology team. We have meetings with the decorating team, all the teams that are necessary. If we don't just throw up a structure and say, we all figure it out. No, we design space intentionally, right? And so, and worship and technology is a huge part of that. And we believe we're not here to sell a building construction. We're ministry guys first, and we truly believe a facility is a tool of ministry. And so we want to give back, and we're here as a resource to help you, whether or not you're thinking about, a project or wherever you're at. I think what's in this session today can be practical, no matter where you're at. That's a little bit about me. Andy's worship leader himself and ministry-minded guy, and he does consultation and helps churches in all manners and facets. J.H. Batten, by license, we are a builder. We're a contractor. But most of what we do is church design build. I said that. We've built anything and everything, but churches is kind of our heart and what we've done most of. I'd say in 36 years of being in business, we've either consulted, helped build or something for over 400 in some churches. So we've seen a little bit of everything. We're based out of North Carolina. I live here in Virginia. I live not too far from here. My daughter went to school here, actually. And we believe in what the SBCV is doing, and I just want to be a good partner with them and building the kingdom, right? So why are we here? Why is a builder here? We believe that our process, the things that we do in design build, can apply to building technology as well. The process is what we believe in, and applying that, it works. So that's why we're here. And the principles are solid and the principles are sound. So hopefully we give you a few tools to go back and help with. Who here has ever been part of a project, any kind of project, whether or not it's, painting the church worship center, whatever, or the bathroom? You've been a part of a project that hadn't went quite the way you thought it would go. Have you been a part of something like that? Yeah, we all have, and we have customers who walk through a building, like while it's under construction, we'll walk through and they'll say, I didn't envision it that way, let's change it. We call that build design. That's if you come along, you didn't really have a good plan, you just started doing something, and then, that's not as I expected it, so let's change now. Well, that's costs time, it costs money, it causes frustration. That's build design. That's not what we try to do. We try to do design build. And in the technology world, I've been a part of that even in my church, the church I was at pastoring, a renovation of a sound system and lighting. And it's important that you design build, not build design, because what's kind of the tendency? The tendency is you see in the catalogs or online, I need a certain soundboard. Let's buy it. I got to have those lights. Let's buy them. And then you buy a bunch of stuff and then try to figure out how to make it all work together. That's kind of backwards, right? I'll submit to you today that we want to do design build. So how do you do that? It can apply to many, many things in church work, in vision and leadership. It can apply to many things. So these principles are not just about a building, they're about a process. We're going to jump right in. The first point, build a great team. Build a great team. I tell people sometimes that's really all we do. Sure, we build buildings, but we're great at building a team. In the construction world, we hire the architects and engineers. We find the sound technology guys to partner with. Greg's one of them, Impact Technology. We partner with them on projects. And you build a great team. We from the very first concepts, when do you build a great team? When you start having ideas and you're dreaming of doing a project, build a great team. There's a lot of work in a project, right? There's a lot of things that has to be done, thought through. And so it's going to require a good team. It's going to require a good team. When you build that team, create an environment where all ideas can be heard, okay? Create an idea where all ideas can be heard. I'm a little bit, I meant to say this a minute ago, I'm a little bit like Andy this morning. I don't have a lot of slides, and I don't have a lot of, you have to write, take a few notes, because everything's not going to be on a slide. I'm going to share that. It's kind of, some of it's off the cuff, some of it's written down, but I'm throwing some main ideas out there, so you might have to write a few things down. But you want to create an environment where all ideas are heard. I like to tell our clients when we start a project, the table is truly round. The table is truly round. You ever heard that before? What does that mean? All ideas are important. There's no head of the table. We bring people to the table. That we build a great team, and then all of those ideas are heard, and all of them are valued. When you build a good team, you need great team members, and team members that you can trust, right? Team members that you can trust. I would say they need to be ministry-minded. They're passionate about the church. They're aligned with its values, its vision, its mission. Get those people on your team. We see this a lot. When we meet a church for the first time, meet a ministry for the first time, and we're meeting with the building committee or the vision team, a lot of times what happens is they form a building committee. They're like, oh, hey, Andy, you remodeled your bathroom, didn't you? You're on the building team. Or, hey, you put a roof on your house, right? You're on the building team. And that's kind of really not really the way to build a team. Think about technology and worship. Oh, well, you know a lot about computers. Be on the worship technology team. Oh, well, you know, okay, you're going to need that expertise in some cases, but everybody doesn't have to have that expertise. The first and foremost, have someone that has a heart for the ministry, that understands who you are, understands your DNA, your mission, your outreach. That's a valuable team member. You're going to hire experts, right? We tell people, we know how to build. Let us handle that part. Bring people they ask, who should we put on the team? Just bring people that understand your ministry, who know what your values are. We'll handle the building part. We need to hear from those people, their heart. They need to be ministry outreach minded. Look for a heart of ministry. Look for spiritual people, right? Look for people that can get in touch with the Lord and know and pray about what you're getting ready to take on and hear a word from Him, right? I don't want to over-spiritualize it, but they need to be kingdom-minded, right? They need to be spiritual people. That's what I believe. When you build a great team, what can happen is you have trusted partners, engage key ministry people early, but you can avoid things like sometimes people, there's hidden agendas. Have you ever heard and seen that? They put somebody on the team, on a committee, and they have a hidden agenda. And that's not good because, and we have ferreted it out many times, where there's a hidden agenda, and that kind of sabotages the whole process, what you're trying to accomplish. And so we say, this process, hiring trusted team members, ministry-hearted people, it's going to help you avoid hidden agendas. But if everybody comes together as a team and that person's on that team that has hidden agendas, it's going to come out pretty quick, and you can address that. Does that make sense? And then pick trusted partners. Like if you're looking for a new sound system, you're going to hire a good partner like Impact Technology, and trust them with their expertise, right? Don't hire someone and then just constantly be cynical and say, well, you're lying to me. Find an interview. Find a trusted partner, right? Somebody that you can rely on and count on. And then let them be their expert. Let them be the expert. I think about, we're doing a 1,200-seat auditorium near Charlotte right now, and we're leading that team, and we have an audiovisual team on board, and we come to the issue about acoustics. This is a large room, and so acoustics, right? The sound is going to bounce around, and right now they don't want a ceiling, which helps acoustically, and they want a hard surface on the floor, and all of a sudden we're like, this is going to be tough. This is going to be like an echo chamber. So we're talking to the AVL team, and we're bringing them on board, and we're saying, hey, we need to cut down how many decibels you think. And we're talking, having these conversations. They're giving us input. We trust them in their input. And the solution that came out was, let's ballast the roof. When you're walking down the hall here, look out to your right, you'll see a ballasted roof. That's where rock is on the roof surface. You know what I'm talking about? As a construction term. Did you know that a ballasted roof cuts decibels by about 35 decibels? Just that one treatment, the weight of it, and it deadens that roof. And so the sound, it helps that sound not to bounce around. So that decision came out of a good team, right? Trusting them, hearing them, that they run sound models, and they say, J.H. Batten, Peninsula Baptist Church, you're going to have an issue right here. We didn't say, we'll address that later, whatever. No, we trust them as an expert and say, hey, what practical solutions can we bring to the table to mitigate this? You get what I'm saying. A great team, and trust that team. Moving along, the second thing, after you've built that great team, I say encourage healthy friction. Okay? I don't know your name. I'm sorry. Tell me your name. Kelly. Kelly mentioned a minute ago. Proverbs 27. What does it say? Iron sharpens iron. It sounds almost cliche, but you know what? It's true, right? It's God's word, right? So it's true. And so you encourage healthy friction. What does that mean practically? Well, I think about I got a lot of stories, so I've tried to just grab a couple. But I remember being down in Swansboro, North Carolina. Does anybody know where Swansboro, North Carolina is? Down past Jacksonville, Camp Lejeune, down that way on the coast. Me and David Batten, the owner of our company, we went and met with a committee. They had built the team, right? They put the team together. First step one accomplished. We walk into this thing, and we were set up, dude. We were set up. All of a sudden, we're referees. And these people are going at each other hard. I'm sorry, ladies, but it was the ladies doing it. You had the older ladies on one side, the younger ladies, and they were fighting. They were saying, these new people hadn't invested anything. They hadn't given, they don't have a right to say. The younger couple's like, how are they ever going to feel welcome if they can't have a say? And it was this, the eternal debate. And it was ugly. It was ugly. And the men were quiet because I guess they were married to the women. And so there was this friction, but trust me, it wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy. And they were attacking each other. And matter of fact, we told them, we're like, and we did this in a nice way, until y'all get this right, you don't need to build anything. You don't need to think about doing anything till you get that right. And, that's not healthy friction. You start hearing ownership conversations and not stewardship conversations. Does that make sense? Like they think they own it. We don't own it. It's His kingdom. We're just stewards over it. And so you hear ownership conversations and not stewardship conversations. And so that's a sign that the friction is not healthy either. But there is healthy friction, and you want to encourage that healthy friction. You build a good team, you'll have that. At my grandma's house, she's still alive. She's almost 100 years old, and she's still living in her home. There's this big old wooden thing in the corner. It was about this tall, and it had a stick coming up out of the top of it. You know what that was? It's a butter churn. Yeah. And I used to be fascinated with things as a kid. And you pour the milk in it, and what would you start? You have to slosh it around. And I liken our meetings, you have a good team and you have our meetings, I liken it to that, because if you have healthy friction, what's healthy friction going to produce in that scenario? Butter. And I love some butter on a biscuit. And so that healthy friction is going to produce something pretty awesome. And it's just as the same way with a team, a good team. You have healthy friction, the best ideas are going to rise to the top. And the team wins, right? Don't go into it as a team member feeling like your ideas have to win. No, you want the team to win, and therefore the congregation wins. Therefore the kingdom wins. Amen? And so the best ideas comes from healthy friction. And then the saints are edified, and then the gospel's furthered, right? When everything happens like it should, it's supposed to. just a couple notes here. I'm not saying, go into every meeting looking to create conflict or friction. I'm not saying that. Don't go in there like, oh, I got to create some friction tonight. No. But when it comes up, when there's disagreements, encourage that. It's okay. It's okay. I need to open my mind. I need to listen to someone else's perspective. I think about my son. He's 24 years old and he's autistic. If you know anything about autism, they really struggle with abstract thinking. They really can't abstract. So he thinks differently, a lot differently than me. But sometimes I have to stop and listen to how he's thinking to get a different perspective. And it helps me sometimes, right? And so to listen, even though you might disagree, but listen, hear that idea, and have a team where you have that confidence in each other that you can challenge thoughts and ideas, and that healthy friction will churn and create something pretty awesome. With our own company, I think, we got a guy named Chuck. He was going to be here today, but didn't get to come. He's our controller. He's black and white. He's an accountant, okay? And I think about our president, David Batten. He's like this eternal optimist entrepreneur, right? And I'm somewhere in the middle. And as a leadership team in our company, that's good because we have 3 different perspectives. We're constantly challenging each other. And usually when we three kick something around, the best idea will usually rise to the top. Make sense? Get people who appreciate that, who don't mind that healthy friction. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, the last point, is trust the process. Trust the process. So we have a process that we lead churches through. It starts out with pre-construction, like we come in and listen, like where's your pain at? Start processing maybe how to solve some of that pain. We look at facilities, we look at maybe a piece of property, and we have a set process that we lead a church through. And pre-construction, then you go into design and engineering, and then you go into the build, okay? And that's a set process. We trust that process. And whatever that process is, you sit down as a team, as a good team, and you create a process, you're going to stick to this, stick to it. Stick to it. Because I know in what we do, early on in the pre-construction process, when we're first meeting with a church and listening to their ideas and vision, say they want to upgrade their sound system or their lighting or whatever, we start listening, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, can we have some answers like 2 weeks? 2 weeks? Can we have something next week?" We can, but let's follow the process. Let's don't shortcut ourselves, right? Well, how long is it going to take? Well, let the process take what it takes. Let us have the appropriate amount of meetings. Let's not shortcut the process. Have y'all seen, there's a thing, this is weird, I know, my mind's weird. There's a thing I saw on the internet recently, egg coffee. Have y'all seen that? Egg coffee. It sounds weird, I know. You take an egg, you crack the egg, you get rid of the egg white. Supposedly it's an Italian thing. You take the yolk and you put it in a cup with about a tablespoon of sugar, and you just stir this for like 5 minutes. And this yolk and this sugar becomes like this incredible like custard, creamy stuff, and you pour coffee in that and drink it. I tried it this week and it's amazing. I love coffee, and it's amazing. But you have to work that for 5 minutes and that yolk and whip that thing up. And you got to trust that process. Like if you just like, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go for a minute. It's gonna be slimy, yellow, still yolk. It's probably not gonna be good. But you trust that process and you stick with it and you follow the process. What it renders is pretty good. So we like to say, don't shortcut the process. Don't say, looking for results quick. Engage your team. Have that healthy friction, have those meetings, determine how, what we're trying to accomplish, and then stick to that. Then universal principles, when you have that process, you follow that process, you trust that process, what it does for you, what it renders for you is you have fewer surprises. When you work through it methodically And when you you kind of kick the ideas around, and you're like, you take and put the litmus test to all these ideas, and you challenge each other, and you work through this. Hey, do we really need a D Live board? Do we really need that, right? Do we really need this thing here? Let's work through the process of the technology. Let's get the expert to lead us. When you work through that process, there's fewer surprises. There just are, because you've really vetted it out, right? You've challenged your ideas and thoughts, and the best ones have risen to the top. It also allows you to execute your project, your plan, a lot smoother, right? When you've talked it through, you look for the pitfalls. And then it also, the last one, which is very important, budget management. When you vet an idea out, when you put all the things on the table, you put it all on the whiteboard, and you filter it down, and you boil it down, and you understand the cost and understand what you're trying to accomplish, the budget control is so much better, right? The budget management. So don't shortcut the process. If you do shortcut it, you might miss those good ideas. You might miss some part or some piece. And I get it. We're all anxious, right? we want something, we're like an instant gratification culture, right? I got to have it now. And the music guy, I remember when I was worship pastor at my church, I came in behind a guy where if one band member complained, he went out and bought a wedge. And he gave each band member a wedge and a little sound mixer. They could all mix their own stuff. It was wild. And so he was just reacting. And then every once in a while, this vortex of sound, of some ungodly sound, would come forth like a demon crying out, because somebody get their knobs all twisted and across, and it was not good. And so, we want instant gratification, but let that process work through and that planning, and it'll pay off. I promise it'll pay off. Here's some thoughts to consider. And really, my presentation is done. I really want to hear some questions or some ideas. We're here to help in any way we can. Build design says, well, everyone's buying X. Everyone's buying brand X components. We must need that too. The church can be copycat, right? We can just want to copy what everybody else is doing. Everybody thinks, oh, well, my stage has got to be 4 foot high because everybody knows subs go on the floor. Well, subs can be flown. Work through that. So the build design says, oh, we got to go and buy this stuff. Design build says, hey, let's engage our trusted partner. Let them guide us through conversations about our wants, about our needs, about our capabilities, about the drawbacks, about the efficiencies, and about future growth potential. That's what design build says. And then let's go forward. Build design says, you know what? I just said this one a minute ago. We'll just solve our monitor issues. When people start complaining they can't hear, we'll just buy them a wedge. And we'll get them a little board. Design build says, hey, let's discuss as a team the paths that we need to investigate. Let's look for long-term comprehensive solutions, right? Build design says, this is a good one. We see this one a lot. This is a construction thing. Hey, there's an old food line building available down the street. Hey, it's a good deal. Let's go ahead and put an offer in on that thing. Let's lease it before it gets gone. Design build says, hold on a second. Let's work together and understand the feasibility of what that facility can and cannot do for us. Did you know that a food line building, while it might seem like a big building, a big open space, you understand grocery stores very rarely have enough heat and air for a church, like a third of what it really needs. What does a grocery store not have that churches need a lot of? Bathrooms. Where are you going to get those at? They cost money. Life safety. Usually a grocery store, there's the front door and that's about it, maybe a back door. Churches, assembly, A3 assembly, you're getting a lot of people that have to get out in an emergency. You got to add a lot more doors and exits. So build design says, let's lease that building. That's exactly what we need. It's big enough. Design build says, let's look at some feasibility. let's set a team, and let's look at the feasibility of that facility, if it's going to work for us or not. And then cost, right? Cost. It's a sacred ask for a pastor to get up and say, give to our building fund. So we better be sure that what we're asking them to give toward is a really well thought out plan or idea, right? Build design says, hey, we need a new building, we need a new sound system, lighting package, whatever it is, we need it now. Let's hurry up. We needed it yesterday. Let's present that to the church. Let's say, hey, church, we're going to get X. We're going to get this. So now give. Let's get it out there so they can be given toward it. Get people excited about it. Design build says, hey, let's work together first as leaders and as a team. Let's determine what the pain is. Let's work through a process to find real, feasible solutions to present to the congregation, maybe even phasing. Because you understand, like, you toss something out there to the congregation, what you could be tossing out there is the proverbial carrot on the stick that they'll never be able to reach. It might be such a big vision, if it hasn't been vetted out or thought through or talked about, they might not ever reach it. And what's that going to do? That's going to discourage, right? My former pastor, he will always say, people can generally get behind a well thought out plan. You get up there and say, church, we have got this team together. We have taken 3 months or 6 months and we worked through this. We've looked at all avenues. We've had the best ideas rise to the top. This is our next best step. It's going to cost this. We have studied it. We know we can afford this. We need you to give. That's a whole lot different conversation than, hey, y'all give. We're thinking about doing something. Not sure what it is, but we're going to do something. Does it make sense? Design build thinks it through. And then ultimately, as a team, a plan that's been prayed over, right? That is spirit-led. Every church has a different DNA, right? And I said it a minute ago, but too many times we meet with churches and they're like, we need this huge lobby. We need a coffee. We need a cafe. Well, that's wonderful. If God's calling you to have a cafe, that's great. But just because church across the street has this awesome cafe doesn't mean you need a cafe. Don't do it because of that. If that's what God's calling you to minister and engage your people, your Jerusalem, that's wonderful. Let's make that happen. Let's figure out how to do that the best, wisest way. But don't just do it because somebody else is doing it. Find out what God is leading you and your congregation, how you're to minister to the people you're called to minister to. Amen. And then get behind that, right? So that was really fast. I mean, we got a lot of time. So I really want to be here, and Greg, you can be a part of this too. He's the tech guy. Andy, I'd like to hear if you got any questions. If you don't have any questions, we're going to be done. We're going to be out of here. Y'all have a little time between our now and the last session. But there's a lot of years of experience here, and I want to be a resource. We do want to give back. So are there any questions about a process? Maybe if it's something you're going through right now in your church, a project, you're thinking about how to do it, what to do. That's what we're here for.